Okay, here we go. So, as I said, my name is Brittany. Thank you for doing this, especially so last notice. Let's see what we have here. Just got this so I can check the time. Normally I run over, so. Well, I guess we can get to it. Let's pull this over here a little bit so it's more in the camera. Did you bring the song that you and Emily are working on?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That will be helpful. That way we have a little bit more. I wasn't quite sure, so I planned for the whole time. Okay, so, why don't you tell me what sort of things that you guys have been working on just so far?
Lip trills. We've been like singing oohs.
Okay.
And doing vowels. And then working on songs.
And what sort of progress have you noticed as you've been going through? Is there...
Oh, I'm breathing. I've got a lot better.
A lot better with breathing?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like the easiest thing is for me to sort of try to build off of that. I don't know whether or not... Has she talked to you about like your ribs and that sort of thing? Okay. Yeah, I feel like the easiest thing would be to try to build off of that, not that I start throwing something else at you when you've been working on this stuff with her. So let's just start with lip trills. Let's just start with 5-note descending ones. We'll go sort of chromatically for a little bit and then we'll start skipping around. And how do you feel about lip trills? Do you have trouble with them or are they pretty easy?
They're pretty easy.
Okay, so maybe let's try with just a 5-note scale. So we'll go. Okay. What the best thing for me to do is personally is when I give you like this right here, the sort of transitioning. During the first one, I breathe out all my old air. So instead of tanking up on old air, I get nice, new, fresh stuff. So you breathe out on this one, and then going up, that's when you can breathe in. So then that sort of gives you a new air, fresh start, just starting over. So then I'll always try to remember to give you time to do that. If it seems like I'm not giving you enough time, just tell me and I'll slow down because sometimes I get so caught up in banging on the piano that I get lost with it. Let's just do some stretches for a little bit first. Normally I'd start with this, but I'm all frazzled for being discombobulated. So let's start with, well, continue with, I guess, just drop your neck forward. Let the weight of your head just gently pull on your neck and the sides of your shoulders. And then roll it to one side slowly. And then back down into the other. We'll just do that a couple times. I know myself personally, I carry a lot of tension in my neck and my upper back. So this helps me a lot. So what we'll do is slowly, with your jaw sort of slack, look up in the air, so like that. And then slowly close your jaw and feel that little bit of stretch around your throat. You don't want to do it too much. A lot of people will get worried a little bit about whether or not they're going to hurt their vocal folds or something like that, but just do it nice and easily. And we'll look back down to one side, to the other side again. And just give your shoulders some rolls there. And the other way. Something that we want to remember when we're singing is that our arms don't necessarily have to be stick straight to our sides with our shoulders super tense. What I want you to remember is that you can move them freely. So even if while we're doing random lip trills, if you kind of feel like you're sitting there like this, give them a little bit of a shake. Just remember that you don't need that sort of residual tension that you might not realize that is there because you're thinking about singing. So then what I would like to do is, this is called a ragdoll stretch. Have you guys done this at all? Do you guys do a lot of physical stuff?
We bend it over for the spine.
Yeah, okay, so that's basically, so what we'll do is all the way to the bottom. You don't have to touch your toes if you can. I mean, I assume you can, being that you're in gymnastics. So then while you're leaning like this, make sure you have your head nice and just the weight of your head pulling down on your neck. Not that your neck is straining to do extra work. We just want it nice and loose. And then breathe in. And then breathe back out. And you should feel yourself sink maybe a little bit lower. And then slowly, on what we'll do on the count of 12 is roll back up one spot of your spine at a time. Nice and easy, remembering that even though it is one whole piece, it all can move separately. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then what we'll do is we'll do it one more time, and then what I want is while we continue up once we get to 12 is just keep going and bring your arms nice and high too, and then like go up onto your toes so you can stretch too. So we'll go one more time. So breathe out, in, out again, and we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I went down way too fast, and then all the way back up. There we go. So then, what we like to do, well, it's hair in my face, is something that, the easiest way that I think of it is to call it a sort of zombie thing. So what we're going to have you do is sort of continuing on with, it's more of a physical thing, but going back into doing some vocal stuff, is I'll just have you go, so just humming 2 notes, so it's pretty easy. And then what we'll do is, starting on this, we'll go, and then we'll do it again. So then what I'll do while you have that is I'll give you that time again while you're swinging around to get your new breath. So. Nice and relaxed too. Sound coming out even while you're humming nice and high up here, and then also still over down here. What do you sing in choir? You're in choir, right?
Yeah, we're working on pop songs.
Okay, what part do you sing?
Oh, soprano.
Okay, so you're more comfortable up there? Mm-hmm. Are you comfortable with these lower notes too? Okay, awesome.
I've been in both a lot.
What's going on with this here? So what I want to do now is what we're going to do is sort of like a continuation of what we were just doing with the zombie thing. I'm going to have you bend over a little bit, like just like this, and then I'll just have you hum like right there. So what we'll do first is I just want you to sing ooh on this. So keep going. So what I want you to do is make sure that your jaw is nice and slack, enough that you can really form that ooh vowel. Emily said, she told me she had you guys like put your hands on your cheeks and stuff. Did you do that? Yeah, so you know how to do that pure vowel. So I really want you to think about that, and we'll just do that for a second. So. to keep going, and then just close your lips just barely. Don't move your jaw. There we go. So that's what we're going to do, just to go into the humming. Because a big thing with singers is that not necessarily humming sort of in a good way, because it tickles your lips, and a lot of people, I don't like humming very much because it tickles my lips so much. But so we want to make sure that your jaw is nice and relaxed, and your tongue is nice and relaxed. So your tongue should just be sitting in the back of your mouth, the bottom of your mouth, nice and easy. It'll feel thick and fat, which sounds gross, but I mean it's your tongue. So just the tip of it behind the bottom of your teeth, just resting in the back, not having to do any work. And then close your lips and keep humming. So then I want you to remember that while we go into the hum, but I want you to stand sort of like this, all slightly less than a 90-degree angle, and then we're going to do that, okay? So go ahead. So then what I'm going to do while you're doing this is count to 4, and I want you to, as I go closer to 4, just get louder and louder as much as you can, and then we'll retract, and then we'll talk about how it feels like in your face and your body and that sort of thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can take a breath. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what did you notice, I guess?
I don't know.
Did it feel... How did your face feel?
Like when I got louder, it felt more relaxed.
More relaxed? Okay, and where did you feel it? Like in your jaw, in your throat, in your tongue, in your nose? In your jaw. So I want you to think about that as we're doing that. We'll do it one more time just to sort of get the feeling of it. And remember that you can have that relaxed feeling the whole time. You don't necessarily need it when you're loud, just because you're louder. So we'll do it one more time, and I'll sort of... 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so then what I want you to do, we'll do some lip trills again. What I want you to remember is that nice and relaxed feeling in your jaw. So even if we start out and you're just as loud as you were when you were at your loudest point for that, think of that as you're doing the lip trills, and that'll help you not only increase the volume, but give you that more relaxed feeling. So let's kind of remember, breathe out, breathe in. Remember to have that nice easy feeling in your jaw. There you go, that's beautiful. Trills feel any different than the ones that we did in the beginning? What feels different about them?
It feels easier to do.
It feels easier. You've definitely got a lot more sound than before. So I think both the zombie thing and the thing that we just did, where you're humming on just that one note, it sort of helps you to feel that resonance in your face more than, not necessarily more than anywhere else, I guess, but just sort of giving you that feeling of, people say where tone is placed, but it's sort of that feeling of where you're singing, I guess. This isn't coming up correctly. So let's just keep going. What I want you to do, though, is remember, watch yourself in the mirror, because what I'm seeing a little bit is your shoulders going, and what we want to remember is that we want to take these full breaths that come. So you want your belly to come out, which, maybe we don't want, but for singing, it's the best way, because you get all of these guts pushed out of the way, so your lungs can come out and fill to their full amount. Your diaphragm will push those down. Do you know where your diaphragm is? You talk about that in choir at all? Okay, so what we're going to do is find your ribs, and then feel the bottom of, where you get to the bottom of them, and sort of come up to the edges to this point right here, where you're sort of under your ribs. And then, so right underneath there, like this, is where your diaphragm sits. So then when you breathe in, it flattens. And that pushes all of this stuff down and out of the way, which gives all of your lungs all of this space to move. And then when you breathe out, it comes back up like this. So when you breathe in, it goes like this. You breathe out, it goes like that. So then that allows you to push everything out of the way. So then what I want you to remember is when you have that nice swing in your ribs, that expands the room for your lungs and then helps push down your diaphragm. So your lungs can have all that space. So just watch yourself in the mirror. I know we'll move this out of the way for a second. And then have one hand like right here and the other hand just on your tummy. So then you can feel that sound, those ribs coming out nice and fast. And then your belly will come out a little bit. And then when you breathe out, your ribs come back in, except we'll be singing, so it'll be slower than that. Okay, so breathe out. I'll play the same key both hands. Breathe out, and then in. Let's try that one more time. I'm gonna jump around a little bit. Nice. Nice swing in those ribs. Okay, so you can relax your arms now if you want, because you're definitely, even already just a little bit, I didn't see your shoulders move at all. So that's what you want to remember, is that you don't want to breathe up here, because that's not giving it all the space that it can get. You want to breathe more down here. So then you can keep your arms nice and your arms at your side. Then remember that they can be nice and relaxed and do whatever. I might tell you to move them if they seem stiff, otherwise just stand however you feel relaxed, I guess. So we'll go. Okay, so I think what I would like you to do is keeping your hands at your sides or up in front of you or something. We don't necessarily want you to like sit how you would if you were playing. While we're doing these 5-note scales up and down, think about how just move your fingers the way that you would if you were playing the flute. Okay? So let's see, what do I want to do? Okay, so just keeping with those easy swinging ribs, you can stand back over there if you want to. And what we're gonna do now is just breathe in, have those nice easy ribs so they swing open, your tummy comes out, and then get your diaphragm pushes. And then what we're gonna do is just on the count of 8 go shh. Okay? So we'll breathe in. Okay. Now why don't you put your hand back on your tummy and your hand on your ribs again. Roll in and Okay, so did you feel what happens sort of in this area as you breathe in and out?
Like, I know the rib cage is supposed to wiggle back and forth.
What do you mean wiggle?
That's what Emily said, like, it wiggles.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure that we have the same terminology, okay? So then do you feel when you breathe in that coming out over here?
They like kind of like move forward, I think.
Okay, yeah, as long as we have that movement in the ribs, we want to get started with that. So let's do it one more time, and then we'll do something else that's a little bit similar. I don't know why I'm going to the piano. So then back on your ribs. I'm trying to think. Why don't we have you put both of your hands just on your ribs, wherever, nice and high, like up here, toward the top. And then, so we'll breathe in. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Was it easier with both hands to feel it? Okay. So now what I want you to do with this, so we're going to do the same thing, breathe in, and then breathe out on 8. But I want you to do you trill your lips while you're doing it. So just... So then what we'll get a look at is how much energy you have behind your breath. Okay? So breathe in. Well, breathe out first. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now what I want you to do is basically, I want you to push that air out with as much energy as possible. So the fastest air that you can bring out of there is what we want. Okay, so breathe out. 1, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now we're going to do just those first trills again, and I want you to think about that same energy, even though we weren't phonating, making noise, you still had more, there was still more sound happening with your lips, just the more energized way. So take a look, keep looking at yourself in the mirror, and then keep those hands nice and high up there, and then we'll do some more trills again. And then just think about having that same energy as your ribs are swinging. So breathe out. Great. Easy neck that we sort of talked about in the beginning with doing like rolling your head around and that sort of thing. You can keep your arms down, just remember to have that swing, and I want you to just sort of bob your head back and forth. It's really, when you're singing and when you're talking, it's just this jaw right here that does all the work. So when we're singing, we can keep that nice, and everything else doesn't need to come up and do all this work. So sort of just think about how your head is like on an axis, basically, like a bobblehead is basically what we're going for. So just nice and slowly with that, letting your jaw do the work and not your tongue and all those other things. And then you can just keep doing it even when you're taking the breaths. Nice energy that we had with the not scale lip trills. We want that same thing to be happening even though we're thinking about our ribs and we're we're thinking about having that neck, which is a little bit weird to think of, like to try to bob your head at the same time. So we want to think about those two things, but as well as the sound that you're making. So we don't want to get trapped in the sound, and we don't want to get trapped in thinking about our bodies. They have to come together. So every once in a while I might shout out random things at you. Just keep singing, I'll keep playing, and I'll just sort of watch you and what you're doing, and we'll go from there. So remember, bob your head, and then great. And keep bobbing through those breaths. Space to have this air, and then having that fast air as you come out. So breathe out, breathe in. There we go, great. Now we'll do one more. Remember that nice fast air. How low do you usually sing when you are just by yourself or at school? How low?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never really seen how low I can go.
Okay. Were we coming close to where did you feel uncomfortable or anything like that? Okay, good. I don't want to, that's the last thing I want to do is make you feel uncomfortable. So then what we're going to do now, well, why don't we you can look at your song if you want. We've done a lot of things, so we can try to sort of employ that. I'm going to make sure that this is still recording because it likes to stop sometimes. Okay. So let's do just a quick look at one of your songs because we've actually almost run out of time. Is this the one that you guys are doing together, or?
I have two.
Oh. Which one are you working on both of them with Emily?
Mm-hmm.
Which one would you prefer to do?
My favorite things.
Okay. Do you mind if I look at it? Like, do you know it? Memorize? Okay. Do you mind if I look at it over here and you can like stand next to me? Okay. Because that way I adjust this accordingly. There we go. And yeah, so we'll just run through it. Sort of, basically what I want you to remember is those things. So having those easy ribs that swing in and out, allowing you to push all your guts down and all that sort of thing so your lungs can do everything that they want to do. And then that fast air as they come out. But the reason that I want you to remember to sort of like bob your head a little bit, not just for your neck, but also with the wiggling of your fingers, is to sort of come out of just focusing on that sound. I know Emily was like throwing things at you, so it's that same sort of premise, is that we want you to have at least some sort of little bit of distraction. So, I mean, if you want to do what you would be doing if you were playing it, or just remember to like wiggle your fingers a little bit, move your hands, that sort of thing, just to sort of bring yourself out. And this isn't really, I've never looked at this before, so please forgive me if I make a mess of it. How about we just go, let's just go to right there for, well, let's just go right there for the sake of the amount of time that we have. And I just want you to remember those things.
So we're just doing the first page?
Yeah, basically just up to right there. So let me sort of get my bearings a little bit here. How about I'll just play the left hand for you to the best of my capability at the moment, and then I'll play the melody with you. So, 1, 2, 3. Oh, see, already. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry. Okay. Let me look at what key we're in here. Okay, one more time. So 1. Okay, awesome. So you're definitely you definitely have that sound that's coming out nice. It's a lot more present than when we first started earlier. So what I think would be good, I see you have dynamic markings like written in here. What would be good if you're maybe, as you're working on this, is thinking about what we did where you were bent over a little bit and you got louder on 4 and then softer on 4. Maybe doing that a couple times before you just do like this passage. So how about we'll do just this section right here because we're probably out of time. And then what I want you to think about is what we were doing with that humming, but also the fast air that you had behind your lip trills that we weren't phonating during. So let's start right here just to get into it. Okay, so I feel like that's probably all the time that we have, but that's something that just from my standpoint, what I like, if Emily tells you to do different things, obviously go with her because she's your the one who's actually been teaching you. But I think that would help a little bit with sort of bringing out that more sound, because even after we did that, we did it a couple times, but your lip trills were a lot stronger and they had more volume and more ring and they filled the space more. So I think that is something that would maybe help you as you go into those sort of crescendoing things. Okay, so we'll stop there just for now. So then tomorrow we're going to be like 8:15. Is that right? Okay, so we'll stop this.